Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Claire. I'm a contract librarian on assignment here with NOAA Central Library, and I'll be your host this afternoon. This seminar series is offered through the NOAA Central Library Seminar Program, which provides an educational forum for the presentation of ideas, research updates, and news in support of NOAA's mission. This is the first in a 5-part series. The next in the series will be on Wednesday, August 4th at noon. Before we start, I have some technical tips for attendees, just so you are aware you are muted and you're not able to unmute your microphone. However, if you have a question, you can type it into the question or chat panel, and we'll get to your questions during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. If you're having any audio or visual issues, if you can't hear the speaker or see the slides, you can try logging off and back on, and that solves most issues in GoToWebinar. And just as a reminder, this is being recorded. If you'd like to revisit this seminar or view any previous seminars, you can find them on our YouTube channel, and I can place a link to that in the chat in just a moment. Now I'm going to hand it over to Veronica, who's going to introduce our speakers today.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Veronica Johnson, and I am the Chief of the Talent Acquisition Branch under the Consulting Services Division, Office of Human Capital Services. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for joining us, especially our HR professionals, hiring managers, and DEIA champions. The purpose of our 5-part series is to broaden the awareness of new approaches to talent acquisition and encourage the effective usage of hiring mechanisms to meet your hiring needs. Above all, we certainly encourage you to participate in the deep dive follow-up sessions that will be taking place on subsequent dates in August and September. These dates will be laid out later in today's session. For today's session, however, the team will focus on providing you with a few scenarios to get you geared up for those additional sessions. Please know that you do not have to wait for these sessions before you engage with your HR business advisors. They are expert teams and are ready, willing, and able to assist you in these efforts. As always, the Consulting Services Division is here to provide that one-on-one contact, and we look forward to our continued partnerships across all of the line and staff offices. Now I'd like to introduce 2 members of my team, Kiana Campbell and Christopher Barron.
Hi, I'm Kiana Campbell, and I'm the Veterans and Disability Employment Program Manager with NOAA. I've been here for about 5 years now and am enjoying every moment of it. Christopher, take it away.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Christopher Barron. I'm NOAA's Pathways Programs Manager, and I manage the Pathways programs for the hiring of interns, recent graduates, and the Presidential Management Fellows.
Thank you, team. I just wanted to also make everyone aware of our division. The Consulting Services Division manages the daily operations of the line and staff offices, the business partners and advisors. And the division provides consultative advice to their customers on all aspects of strategic workforce planning and talent acquisition. CSD is comprised of 4 branches, as you can see here: Consulting Branch A, B, C, and of course our branch, the Talent Acquisition Branch. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to your business advisors, who are actually listed on that link below. Next slide, please.
So at this point, we'd like to get you involved in the conversation as well. We're going to be using a few of these polling questions to try to drive the conversation and also to keep you awake during this 1-hour session. The first polling question is, which of the following hiring mechanisms have you used in the last 3 years? You can choose as many or as few as you'd like. There's no right or wrong answer, and please respond in the chat box. Chris, are you seeing any?
I don't see any.
I can see the answers here, and I can make you an organizer also so that you can see them as well. Just a moment. All right, Kiana, are you able to see the questions panel?
No. Let me see. Okay, looks like I see a few D and E for a couple pathways and schedule AR. I actually see pathways and interns, PMF, but it isn't listed, a few VRAs. So I think overall what we're trying to drive home in this point is that we recognize that it's complicated and there's a lot of options. And we're really here to just engage with you guys and to help make it easier to determine which option would be best for you and what fits your labor needs at the time. So there's no real perfect answer here, and it's really to be customized to what your labor needs are. So we're really just trying to make the point that you don't need to be an expert. CSD is really your resource in assisting you with your hiring needs. Next slide. So we wanted to really drive this home that this is an open-ended conversation. And so today we're really going to be doing a high level at all of the options. So I'd like to consider this as the menu. And then in the subsequent sessions, we're going to be taking a deeper dive into each of the available options for hiring. And then the final one will be no-cost veterans internship programs to allow us to talk about leveraging some intern opportunities for veterans that are no cost to the agency. So you can come to one session or feel free to come to all of them. They're really set up to provide smaller bites of information based on what you're most likely to hire during this time. Next slide.
Thank you, Kiana. So I wanted to give everybody just kind of an overall vision for this new talent acquisition we're moving to. And basically it's to serve as the agency focal point for targeted engagement and recruitment by facilitating a greater integration of effective HR expertise into cross-NOAA workforce planning, supporting data-driven talent acquisition, and coordinating agency initiatives that match a diverse supply of talent to meet NOAA's workforce demand. Next slide, please. In doing this, we're looking at this bridge, and this bridge speaks to building that bridge through robust line and staff office engagement with the Office of Human Capital Services, Consulting Services Division, HR business advisors. And so on one side of the bridge, you have that labor demand. It is basically what the hiring managers are looking to obtain for their talent pools. On the other side of the bridge, we have that diverse talent pool. That is the supply. That is the side of the house that my team, as well as your HR business advisors, are preparing for you as you look at your future workforce needs. There are two lanes to the bridge, and basically the two lanes are the effective use of specific hiring programs, and then looking at that coordinated NOAA-wide targeted engagement effort that we have in order to assist you. Now, we understand that these hiring authorities can be a little worrisome or challenging, I would say. So as we look at and have heard the hiring officials say, their challenges could be ones of infrequent hiring actions, meaning they might do a hiring action once a year or once every 2 years. Or maybe there are just so many mechanisms out there, they're just not really sure which ones to engage in. And then, of course, the lengthy policy documents. How do you get through these hiring mechanisms? What does it mean for the manager? How can HR assist you? We certainly understand all of those things. Beyond that, we have effective talent acquisition model. And basically, it is based on the curated experience of your HR professionals, specifically your human your HR business advisors. They can customize options to actually help you get your workforce needs completed. And this also provides a playbook for eliminating the guesswork. I'm not really sure as a hiring manager which direction I should go in. Well, which hiring mechanism works better for me? Well, based on my needs, where do I need to go? That's what your HR business advisors are there for, to get you to that point so you don't have to think about those efforts. Next slide. Kiana.
It's Chris, actually. Hi. So recognizing the information mentioned in the previous slides, we're going to walk through various scenarios on how we use some of these hiring authorities outside of the traditional delegated examining announcements, which are open to the public, and our merit promotion announcements, which are limited to status candidates. The information provided today is only an overview of these hiring authorities. Additional information will be provided in subsequent information sessions. So in this particular scenario, if you needed to fill a physical scientist position and the competencies that you were seeking were knowledge of computer languages and statistical analysis, of the 3 listed hiring authorities, A, B, and C, which ones do you think we could use to fill this position? And you can place your answers in the chat box.
Chris, are you able to see the responses?
I cannot.
I'm seeing C, Chris.
Okay.
Actually, a few C's. There's an A and C, A or C. Somebody has all. You want to take it away?
All right. So the magic answer to this question is we could use all 3. There's no right or wrong answer. However, with the exception of the Presidential Management Fellows Program, because this program is geared to develop your future leaders, you should, since the program is to develop our future leaders, when you recruit for a PMF, you want to stray away from any operational type position. So a physical scientist, in all intents and purposes, is an operational type position. It doesn't develop them for a leadership type position. You could post a Presidential Management Fellows announcement. However, you probably will not get a whole lot of candidates that would be interested in the position because of the operational nature. Next slide, please. All right, so as we move into paths in developing our future workforce, we're going to start with the Pathways Program's internship program. Next slide. All right, so the Pathways programs consist of 3 distinct programs, all under the umbrella of what we know as Pathways programs. Today, I'm just going to give you an overview of our internship program because our focus right now is on entry-level positions. So the internship program is a paid competitive program that is open to students who have been accepted or are currently enrolled in an accredited college or university, leading to completion of a degree or certificate program. Next slide. So what are the benefits of utilizing Pathways programs? 1, you're able to recruit and hire well-qualified students and recent graduates. You can essentially grow your own talent. You can train and retain these entry-level individuals. Through outreach, you can attract entry-level talent to NOAA and fill those key competency gaps. The Pathways programs can also be utilized to meet your individual diversity and inclusion goals. It gives you the opportunity, while they're under Pathways, to evaluate their performance and ensure that they are the right fit before converting them to a perm or term position. The great thing about Pathways is that you can recruit anytime during the year for an intern, a recent grad, or a presidential management fellow, with the exception of the NOAA-wide annual summer intern program, which we have designated dates to recruit for that program. Next slide. All right, so there are two distinct differences when it comes to the internship program. The intern NTE is the temporary component of the internship program. These appointments are made in 1-year increments. As long as the student is enrolled in school and continues to meet the program requirements, their appointments can be extended in 1-year increments. When you focus on this component of the internship program, it is specifically geared to hire interns to complete temporary projects, to perform labor-intensive tasks, and we utilize the intern NTE hiring component to fill our summer positions. It does require competition for any additional personnel actions once they are hired, and they can have non-competitive conversion to a permanent or term position if there's a remark on the vacancy announcement that shows that option. The second track to the internship program is what we call the intern career appointment. This is an indefinite appointment. It does not have a not to exceed date. It does integrate the student's academic studies with the target position that they were hired for. They are automatically eligible for full federal benefits upon appointment, and they automatically get non-competitive conversion eligibility to a permanent or term position once their degree has been completed. Next slide.
Chris, before you go, there's a question in the chat box regarding pathways.
Yes.
To use the pathways hire, can you use a regular classified PD, or do you have to make a special one for a pathways hire?
So that's a great question. So when we talk pathways, specifically the internship program, you have to have a specialized PD classified for the intern program only. And that is the student trainee. They have to be classified under what we call the 99 series. So whatever position you have, whatever series it is, you're going to have that series code followed by 99, which indicates it's a student trainee position. So for example, if you hire a student as an accountant, their official classification would be student trainee, and in parentheses, it would be accountant. The series of that position would be, for example, a GS 599-4.
I think those are the only questions regarding the pathways section, so we're gonna keep it going, and thanks, Christopher, for the information about pathways. I'm going to talk to you next about the workforce recruitment program, which is designed specifically with for students with disabilities. This actually is a database of students and recent graduates with disabilities. You can use them to make temporary, term, or permanent appointments, and there's no grade level limitation. The difference here is that pathways opportunities must be posted on USA Jobs. However, students who are in the WRP program, the opportunities do not have to be posted on USA Jobs. At NOAA, we have used this before for an intern over the summer to update website links, check and see if they're still active, or update them if necessary. Next slide, please. I'd also like to highlight that the Office of Education has several internship opportunities for graduate and post-secondary students, and the funding is actually provided by the Office of Education. They are actually going to be here during our next session to go into a deeper dive, but they offer the Holland Scholarship Program. And there's also educational partnership programs with minority serving institutions, or EPP as we affectionately call them. There's one designed specifically for undergraduate and another for graduate students. But this also gives students the opportunity to come and work with NOAA on our great mission. Next slide. This brings us to another audience polling question. So based upon the competencies, need, skill level, and likely pay band, what mechanism may be the most effective for hiring? Is it A, 30% or more veterans, B, individuals with disabilities, C, pathways interns, or D, recent grads? Okay, I'm seeing some C's, B's. A's and B's. A, B, D. So any of these actually could be used to hire the person. Someone actually wrote in all of the above. Actually, A would be great because 30% or more veterans can be used at any grade levels. B would be great as individuals with disabilities could be used at any grade level. C could get kind of dicey in that it really depends. We didn't really specify which kind of pathway intern. So, and D, recent grads certainly may be able to fit that sort of qualification as well. So I think the point here that we're really trying to drive home with these pollings is there's just so many different mechanisms that you could use, and there's never really a right or wrong answer to any of them. Next slide, please. So next, we're going to talk about early to mid-career hiring. And I'm up next to talk about special hiring authorities for this particular segment of our hiring. Next slide, please. Chris, you can take it away.
Hello. So as we move into our early and mid-career positions, so under Pathways programs, outside of the internship program, there are 2 additional tracks that you can utilize to hire individuals at the mid-career level. And specifically, the Recent Graduates program, which is the program for individuals who have recently graduated with a qualifying degree in the past 2 years from the closing date of the announcement. OPM does allow veterans who were precluded from applying to a position because of their military obligations up to 6 years to apply for a recent graduates opportunity. These are paid opportunities that require a billet, and agencies have up to the GS9 grade level or equivalent pay band to appoint recent graduates. They must have an established career ladder at the time of the vacancy announcement. For scientific, STEM, and research positions, you have the option to hire candidates up to the GS12 grade level. The third component of pathways for your mid-career positions is the Presidential Management Fellows Program. This program is managed by the Office of Personnel Management, where candidates with graduate degrees undergo a rigorous assessment process where OPM determines best qualified candidates through this assessment to become PMF finalists. Once the finalists have been determined, agencies can post announcements on the OPM talent management system, which is geared just for PMFs, to post eligible vacancies to bring PMFs into the agency. It is a 2-year developmental program. Upon completion of all program requirements, the PMF can be converted to a permanent or term position within NOAA. Next slide.
We realized that there's a few questions in the chat box, and we will go back to address those questions because some were for Chris, and it looks like there's some for me as well. So we'll address those at the end of the presentation, guys. I didn't ignore you. So there's a couple special hiring authorities, and I'd like to point out that individuals with disabilities Schedule AU there's no grade level limitation on that one, or Schedule A ARA, and they both can be used to make time limited appointments. However, the difference is Schedule AU, the one for individuals with disability, may be used to make a permanent appointment. There's also alumni of NOAA sponsored programs, Conservation Corps, that allows non-competitive career or career conditional appointments up to GS11 or CAPS equivalent. This is used typically to make permanent appointments as well. Next slide, please. So there are several veterans hiring authorities that support our military community. One is 30% or more disabled vets, and this allows non-competitive appointments to any competitive service position. It can be used to fill temporary term or permanent appointments, and there's no grade level limitation. Does not require notice on USA Jobs. The VRA, or Veterans Recruitment Appointment, also allows non-competitive appointment. However, these positions may only be filled up to the GS11 or equivalent, and there's a 2-year trial period here, after which employees may be converted to the competitive service. There's also a military spouse appointment that allows appointment to the competitive service. However, this doesn't allow preference over other candidates. And for placement, we must clear CTAP and ICTAP. But once again, this can be used to fill temp, term, or permanent positions, and there's no grade level here. Next slide, please. So finally, before we go to the question and answer series, I'd just like to highlight that there are unpaid internships for veterans if anyone is available to host a veteran. Next slide, please. The two that we have available are Operation Warfighter, which is OWF, and it's a DoD internship program that matches service members who are normally undergoing treatment with non-funded federal opportunities to gain experience. Here, most of the service members are in the National Capital Region, and they last about 3 to 5 months. It really just depends on the security process and how long they're going to be in the area. The other one that I'd like to highlight is actually the DoD Skill Bridge program, and it's an opportunity for separating service members to gain valuable experience. Here, these service members are located out of the anywhere throughout the country, and they typically last 180 days. There is no cost to the agency, FTE, nor compensation. Both are compensated through DoD. There is some paperwork that we need to complete, and these are for more like task or project-oriented type duties. So one example that I'd like to share is if you have, sometimes we'll receive someone who's worked in finance for the military, and if you have outstanding SOPs that need to be updated or written, this may be the opportunity for someone to work on a task such as that. It's really the opportunity to gain for service members who are retiring experience into federal service is sort of what I like to call just to see, you know, how this transition is going to work. For a lot of them have been serving for 20 plus years in the military. Next slide, please. So just a reminder, this here was actually just an overview of all of the different methods that we have outside of USA Jobs, and that will continue to push through with other deeper dives into the next series, and the next one being in August. And there's really, you know, you can attend all of them, and we certainly encourage you to, but if there's a specific need in between now and then, you can certainly reach out to your human resources business advisor for specific questions or assistance, and we actually have a link to them in our slide deck as well. I will actually go back to some of the questions that you guys put in the chat box at this time. And so one question, Chris, is there funding available to pay students through Pathways or EPP, or does that all that come from the program?
So I can only speak on Pathways. Is that the funding for a Pathways participant comes from the line and staff office. There is no central funding mechanism to appoint an intern, recent grad, or PMF.
Okay, there was another question. If both may be non-competitively converted, why would you ever choose an NTE? I'm assuming they're talking about Pathways interns.
So if you choose an intern NTE, you could utilize the temporary component of the internship program if you don't have a permanent billet to place an intern. So and because of the nature of the intern NTE versus the intern career, one, the intern NTE's academic discipline does not have to relate to the target position because they're only here for a temporary time frame. As an intern career, the academic discipline should relate to the target position that you're training that individual for. So those are distinct differences between the two.
Okay, so when the intern finally does convert, does their occupational series change from the 99 series?
Absolutely. The 99 series is only when the intern is under Pathways. When they're converted to the competitive service under a permanent or term position, then the 99 series goes away and the series that they train for will become their series. So for example, if they were hired as a student trainee HR specialist and they're under the 299 series, once that individual completes their degree and they're converted to the competitive service, they will become a GS 2017. So the 99 series goes away once they come out of the internship program.
Okay, great. The next question is, what does MSI represent on the slides? It represents minority serving institutions. Chris, did you want to add anything to that?
No, that's great.
That's great, okay. The next question goes to me. If we are approached by a veteran for the DoD skill bridge, who do we contact you? Yes, absolutely. And then there's a question regarding, can you discuss the Conservation Corps Act eligibility of graduates who were supported under the EPP CSCs? I'm not sure what that means.
So I can interject. So we'll have a representative to discuss CCA in the subsequent information sessions, who can discuss how that process works, bringing a candidate from EPP to the CCA, under the CCA hiring authority. So we'll have a representative on one of these sessions. I believe it's the August 4th session.
Yeah, she'll be here. So cooperative service centers is what that represents.
And this is Veronica. I will say that in the event that they are not going to attend the August 4th session, that we let them know that the business advisor that actually is in charge of that, of the CCA, and that can discuss that issue, is Alicia Sims Reynolds. And she will be able to definitely assist that individual that asked that question. Alicia Sims Reynolds is the HR business advisor that handles CCAs.
Okay, thank you. I think that was good for her. Okay, the slides will be available. I saw a comment regarding the slides and I can't get back to it, but yes, the slides will be available. Are there other questions, or do you guys have additional comments that I maybe missed that I should share? Chris, Veronica? No?
No, thank you very
That's
much.
all.
Thank you.
And in addition to the slides being made available, I just want to add that this talk and the subsequent talks will all be available on the NOAA Central Library's YouTube channel, and there is a link to that in the chat. And if there aren't any more questions, then we can end a little bit early. I'll just wait a minute to see if anything else pops up in the chat. And I just want to thank our presenters, Kiana and Chris, today for joining us. And I don't see any more questions here, so we can finish up. Again, this will be available on YouTube. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you all for joining us. And there will be, when the presentation ends, there will be a short survey that will pop up for the attendees. We do use these surveys to improve marketing for our library seminar service and to inform future seminar topics. Thank you again for joining us, and have a safe and enjoyable rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.